What's going on, everybody? It is Shameful Penguin here, back with another video. Today we're going to be going over some more low budget investments into the map strategies. So today we're actually doing New Vastir, as you probably saw from the title. New Vastir takes advantage of Legion monoliths. So if you guys don't know what Legion monoliths are, it's that little monolith that spawns in your map, and when you click it, tons of enemies spawn, but they're like statues and they don't move, and it gives you a couple seconds to kill them all. And if you any of them that you end up killing actually end up spawning once the time ends. So if you kill all of them, it immediately ends, and then you gotta fight all these monsters that you killed as your stasis form. This is a really strong way of making currency because we are actually buffing all the monsters in there, and there's strong monsters in there called sergeants. So utilizing high value targets, we get 3 additional sergeants, so they're the harder monsters to kill, and then also every sergeant has a reward over their head. Those rewards will have the different symbols like currency or unique items or div cards, and they will drop whatever it says on their head basically. This is how we are making majority of our money, by making sure we kill all these sergeants. You always want to prioritize the sergeants over the little boys, because they don't really drop as much. They're like a regular map monster. They don't have anything special. But the high value targets drop tons of currency, and then since so many of them spawn, we just get a large amount of currency for investment. We also want to spec into war supplies, where each legion contains an additional warhorde. Warhordes are those stashes that drop a lot of splinters and a lot of extra goodies. Emblematic used to be really good. Since it's now later in the league, this isn't as overpowered as it used to be, but timeless splinters dropped in areas have a 1% chance to drop timeless emblems instead. These emblems are not worth nearly as much as they were in the beginning of the league, but they do give you a little bit of currency if you do manage to get them to drop. So now, how did I run my maps as low investment? Low investment, I was making sure my map tiers were low, so a low budget build will be able to complete it. So we were running tier 8 dunes. Tier 8 dunes is a open layout, and you want dunes because it is an open layout map. And you want the legion to spawn without having it be cut off by any part of the map. It's always going to be cut off somehow if it spawns on the sides, but dunes has probably the biggest, most open layout of all maps. So dunes was our favorite pick. You could also pick desert. Desert has a pretty decent layout, but dunes overall I think is the best layout for this type of farming method. Next, we got a tier 8 map. And we make sure that all the watchstones are filled, or that all the watchstones are filled to not be any of these tiers. Tier 8, 9, and I think it's tier 7s. Yeah, 7, 8, 9. You don't want any 7, 8, or 9 tiers to drop in any other region of the atlas. This is because if a tier 7 drops, it will always be one of the tier 7s that you can see here. So it's always going to be either laboratory or strand. And if you get a tier 6 to drop, it's always going to be belfry. 8 to drop, it's always going to be desert, crimson, dunes. It's always going to be one of those 3. And 9, it's always going to be shrine or relic chambers. This is really good because it limits the number of options of drops, so we can get our most favored one. So now you just use your favors on dunes, and you're going to get a decent amount of returns on your drops. So once you do that, FYI, you don't infinitely sustain like the other method on dunes, so keep that in mind. You do return about 80% of your maps on average, so keep that in mind when you're doing this farm or thinking about doing this farm. So now that we have that, every time you want to run a map, you're going to grab your New Vastir map. You're going to alk and go. I'm not going to alk it right now because I don't need to. And then what you're going to do is go down on your map device. Scroll all the way down to where Legion is. It costs 6 chaos, so it's going to cost you 6 chaos every time you run a map. But you're going to be making this money back easily, by far, so don't even worry about it. Make sure you have some C in your tabs, so you just have some in the back, so you can just always click on it and not have to worry about not having enough. but you're going to be making far more money than what you're investing, so don't worry about it. So you're doing this because you guaranteed 1 legion to spawn. Now if you have a little bit more money, you can also put in a legion scarab. So now if I were to run this map right here and then click this, I would have guaranteed 2 legion monoliths in my map right now, which is pretty awesome for 6 chaos plus whatever you spent on the scarab. But the cool thing about this build is that we have 3, 6, 9% chances to contain a legion encounter. So we have a 9% chance to have a 3rd legion encounter in our map, and this is really good rewards. You get a ton of currency from running all of these. So in my testing, I didn't run any legion scarabs. I only ran the 6 chaos map device cost. In running this, I believe this is the lowest budget variation because you don't have to go out and buy scarabs. You can just go and just click your map device and run. So in running these, my returns were pretty decent. A lot of low tier maps and a lot of basic currency. I did also get 1 Exalta drop, but I did not include it in my findings because I don't know if it was from an incubator or if it was from killing an enemy. So I just took it out. So my findings may be a little bit less than it should be. But if we look in excellence, we have about 290 profit, which is pretty cool. We got some low mid-tier currency, and low tier currency is most of our budget. I also did run rituals, but I did not include what I purchased from the shop, so keep that in mind. So there's a lot more ways to make more currency than I did. I just wanted to show you guys the most baseline. If you were to put as little as the investment as I did, you still do make profit, so don't worry about that. So I made 209 plus or minus an X, and also subtract 60C from this because it did cost 60C to run all of those map device legion encounters. So 209 plus minus 60, still a good profit in my opinion. So we do a lot of those maps. So I did 10 of them in this case, so it was pretty good. So now I'm going to go over what you guys should be doing. So I ran 10 with just that map device, and that's where my findings are. But when I'm running them solo without doing this testing for you guys, what I'm doing is I am generally using a Legion Scarab. You could also use a Cartography Scarab, wherever it is. Cartography Scarab. Should have typed it in. I usually use a Cartography Scarab and a Legion Scarab so I can get returns on my maps pretty solid, and also get my extra Legion. So that's the way I'm usually running it, with the Legion encounter on the map device. And then I'm usually running them at tier 15. So if you put all your watchstones in here, you can see that Dunes is now at tier 15. And if you have a build that can run it, you will want to run Dunes as high level as possible, so you get more returns on average. And I've made multiple exalts from just running this method. And if you run out of Dunes maps, you just start running Desert, start running Foundry, Crimson Temple, whatever you have on you, just start running. You're always going to make a profit doing this. Maybe not juicing as much if you have those maps and wasting all your juice on the Dunes, or you could just straight up buy the maps from other people. That is always a solid option. You will still make profit if you buy the map, buy the Scarab, use the investment on the map device. You will make a tons of currency, and I can, if you guys would like, to make that video for you guys where I buy like 40, 50 of Dunes maps, Scarabs, and I juice my maps up a little bit, maybe run them a little bit of Delirium in them. I don't know. If you guys want to see a higher investment and a high budget version of this new Vastir map strategy, I can totally get that online for you guys, so you guys can watch that and see what the returns are and decide if it's worth it for you to do. I know it's worth it for me to do because I do it, but I just don't chain them back to back regularly. So just letting you guys know that it is a good way to make profit, and I hope you guys learned something from this video. I know this is a strategy that most people have done. The main purpose of me making and uploading this video was to show that low investments on this still work and you'll still get profit no matter what. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned a little bit of something, and I hope you guys have a nice day. See you later. Peace.